February the 1st, 2026. Guys, we got some solar activity that's really kicking in. You're not looking at the same picture as far as different satellites. What you're doing is looking at 4 different flares that have occurred back to back. You got a 5.1 here, and you can see they're powerful. They're starting to give you that X signature even at that level. Then a 5.8, a 6.7 here, again looking with that X flare signature. But here was the X 1.0. It was longer lasting. You can see that. And guys, I just checked the CME trackers before I started the video, and they have not modeled anything yet. They may be protesting. Who knows? We don't know. In the middle, this is Sunspot AR4366. Looks like an L, a X, and a V. Could be Roman numerals. You never know. Anyway, this is the culprit. And it's not exactly Earth facing. You can see that looking at this picture at the top left called the teal camera filter, that it would be probably, the flare now would have ionized the atmosphere here in 8.2 minutes. And, but if there's CMEs involved, and it definitely looks like there's one here with the X1, it wouldn't be directly Earth facing. You got to imagine like a basketball, something coming off that angle right there will be more to the left side of the Earth. But this thing is turning towards us, and it's a very active sunspot. It has some unique characteristics. And this is what we got, guys. 4357 is about to go back around the sun, but 4366 is right here. And it is, like I said, very unusual. It's kind of in the super flare category as far as how much energy is in that one spot, kind of like a Carrington event. And this is a little closer look. And what you got in the different colors, you have different magnetic systems in this flare. You have positive and negative, and when they arc together, just like arcing over a battery in a car, you're going to get a spark, and we just saw 4 of them. Now, a lot of times I'll do these videos, guys, because it affects so many people and they don't really realize why. And a lot of you guys have talked about it in the comments. They affect me, and a lot of you feel it. So if you're feeling anything today, this is why. Again, the initial burst of light called photon energy, 8.2 minutes to go 93 million miles. And then you have, of course, the coronal mass ejection. That's a plasma event, and that can take 24 to 48 hours, depending on the speed at muzzle velocity when it left the sun. Now, as we look at this chart, they're saying that we still have a 25% chance of more X flares. And a lot of times this will be a 0.01 or 0.5 or something like that. C flare, 99% chance, and the M flares, which you're seeing a lot of them in the yellow here, guys, are 75% chance proton event, 5.05%. Now, the solar wind speed has been down for the last few days. Earlier this afternoon, it was below 300. Average is about 320. And we saw this before the last section of flares came in, that it was almost like a vacuum where it got really low, and then we saw that sudden impact. They have not, again, I said it, gave us a model as far as the coronal mass ejection, how big it is, exactly what direction it is leaving the sun at, and how fast it will be approaching. Anyway, as soon as that happens, I'm going to do a video and we'll talk about it more. But right now, I just want to make sure that you guys understand what's happening. This is kind of an unusual event for this flare. But it's like something going on in the universe right now between the weather and the sun and everything else you can think of. You think this is maybe what's driving the libtards crazy? Could be. Never know. Now let's take a look at LASCO C3. Guys, we're still having video issues with the SDO. You get some still shots, things like that, but I don't know what's going on with it. But here you got a race between Venus and Mercury. Look at that. It's pretty cool, huh? Now notice this ring. What I'm doing is letting it play through until to today, and we'll see what we can see from this particular satellite. Just went to February. Don't have enough information on it yet, but notice this ring right there. You don't see that. I'm just wondering if the last barrage of X flares may have done some type of damage to the camera, or like burn through or burn out. A lot of these satellites, when they see or they have sensors on them that indicate a pulse coming, then they can shut down and keep from frying some of their electronics. But the optics can be damaged. But again, we're not going far enough in time to get that rapid burst for today on February the 1st. Something that I noticed, and I've seen this thing for hundreds of hours, is there's a glow right there. You see it, guys? I'm not sure what that is at the time, but there's definitely something right there causing that glow. We'll find out in the next day or so. But what I'm going to be looking for definitely is the CME tracking information. And let's take a look at what space weather is saying about it, because this flare just came into existence. It wasn't one that loops around. It says big sunspot alert. When the weekend began, sunspot 4366 didn't exist. Now it's a behemoth almost 10 times wider than Earth. The sunspot's rapid growth is making it unstable and susceptible to flares. It has already unleashed again a triple-peaked M7X1 M6 flare. More flares are in the offering. Now, this article was this morning. Now there's 4 of those flares. But it says new sunspot 4366 has unstable Delta-class magnetic field that is crackling with strong solar flares. Earlier today, it produced, again, the M7, X1, M6 that collectively lasted more than 6 hours. So any kind of impact, whether it's Mercury, Venus, or the Earth, it's going to be a long duration event. It says extreme ultraviolet radiation from the flare ionized the top of Earth's atmosphere. Now think about that, guys. An extreme photon, like photo light, event that travels 93 million miles in 8.2 minutes. Just think about if you wouldn't have any warning. In other words, by the time that information hit the satellites and it was translated into information that could be used on websites like this, it would be too late. Now, if the growth, which they're saying is rapid, intensifies any further, it's going to become that much more dangerous. And it's going to be, at one point in time, we're going to have to deal with things like satellites being deorbited, space station being deorbited, which it's about to be, and then blackouts. You get enough energy in the atmosphere, it's going to fry transformers and all of that. So it's always good to be prepared like a pioneer, guys, like an ice storm. You need a wood burner, right? Think of in that mentality without electricity as you make your preparations. And that life was probably much simpler. Didn't have all the bells and whistles. You didn't have all of the Wi-Fi interference in your brain either, did you? Anyway, guys, I just want to come in and talk about this because we're going to be feeling the effects, and actually, some of us already are. It only took 8.2 minutes. It's a heads up, guys. Be safe.